So in a recent video, I talked about how when LEGO sets retire, they get super expensive and why that happens. And here's the big question. Can LEGO sets unretire? So after they've stopped production, can they be unretired and production start for those sets again? Let's talk about this. So the straight answer is no. LEGO sets almost never unretire. Once they're retired, they're pretty much gone for good, unless you're buying ones on eBay, Amazon, or like third-party places. So once a LEGO set retires, you're not going to be getting that off LEGO ever again. You have to resort to going to places where people have bought it already and are selling it again for a higher price. But there is one thing LEGO does do that seems a bit like unretiring, but it's not exactly that. And that is remaking sets. Although they don't release the same set again, as in re-releasing it, they sometimes do remake a set with the same premise, but change a little few things, maybe make the minifig selection better, maybe add a few more pieces. So I had two examples here, and here's the good and the bads of them. The first example is the Death Star. The Death Star, of course, the first one came in 2008, and then a new one came out a few years later. We were very excited for this one, but it ended up being a huge disappointment because all they did was they added a few more minifigures, changed them a bit, which made them look a lot less classic, and most of it was exactly the same. Most people were expecting something a bit new to come into it, but they had just released the same set with some new minifigures, and then just made the piece count go up a little bit so it reached the 4,000 piece mark. Now, of course, the original Death Star is retired, and that was basically like them re-releasing it with new minifigures, although people weren't very happy about that because they wanted new updates to this set. And now a second example of this would probably be the Disney Castle. Of course, we had that Disney Castle set that came out originally quite a few years ago. It was a really nice set with over 4,000 pieces. It had quite a lot of detail, some nice minifigures and things like that. And of course, this year we got a new Disney Castle, which was similar, but different in a way that it looked a bit more like the Disney castles at the Disney parks. It had a bit of a darker tone to it, and it was a few different more minifigures, maybe not as good minifigures as the last one. So a bit like with the Death Star, they changed up the minifigures but kept the kind of the same build. They changed a few little things such as some colours and made the interior a lot better than it was in the original. I'd say that the new Disney Castle is definitely better than the old one because they just have more nowadays than they did back when they made the original Disney Castle. But there can be some good and bads of remaking a set. First of all, you're remaking a classic sometimes like the Death Star, and people might want to keep some of the classic stuff, or they might want it upgraded because they didn't have the right pieces at that time to make some really cool stuff that they could have done in now time. But the good thing is, it means that people can get their hands on some great sets again, even if they're just a little bit different. It's pretty much the same premise for each of these sets. But Disney Castle, I'd say that it did actually get better. The changing in colour just made it look a lot more realistic and like the Disney parks. And it also had some nice little minifigures and stuff with it, which is really cool. So that was talking about how LEGO sets cannot unretire. But they have got some ways that they can kind of re-release them. So, I really hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe up there. There's another video down there. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. The new Disney Castle is definitely better than the old one.